Welcome to this Google Classroom tutorial. I'm going to break this tutorial down in 3 parts. The first part is the introduction and overview, where we're going to talk about how to access Google Classroom, how to create or join a class, how to set up the course information, 2 ways to invite students to join a class, the layout of Google Classroom, how to customize your classroom, how to add some more descriptive details and where work is actually saved, how to set student permissions, and how to invite parents or guardians. In the next part, we'll talk about some additional features and functions of Google Classroom, including how to post announcements, assignments, and questions, how to add files for students, and then in the third part, we'll talk about student work. I'll show you what it looks like from the student view, how to add, create, turn in work, where that work is saved, how to collect it, comment on it, grade and return it back to the students, and I'll also show you how you can download all those grades into either Sheets or Excel. So let's begin. Okay, so we're going to access Google Classroom. One of 2 ways. We can either go to the app launcher and search for it here, which I don't like to do because sometimes it doesn't pop right up and then you have to scroll around looking for it. So I always just go straight to the URL here and I type in the name of the app and then .google.com, and that's a shortcut for any of the Google apps that you're trying to get to, whether it's Drive, Sheets, Docs, whatever it is. So we're just going to go to Classroom, just classroom.google.com. I hit enter and then I get to my sign in screen. So I click on sign in and here is where I would enter my school information. So I put my school account here, I click next, enter my password, and I will be logged into Google Classroom. So as you can see, I already have some classes here that I am either teaching or am enrolled in. But right now what I want to do is create a new class. So I go to this plus sign here and I have a couple of options. I can either join a class if I've been given a class code and I want to join someone else's class, or I can create a class, which is what I'm wanting to do right now. So I would write in here the class name. I'm going to call this Google Classroom Practice. And in the section, we usually enter when the class meets. So we'll say block 1, and then put it on an AC day. And the subject here, I'm going to put technology, but you can put social studies, science, math, whatever it is that you teach. And then I'm going to go ahead and click create. And it brings me to my brand new Google Classroom. So now that I'm here, I'm just going to go ahead and do some things to customize the look of my classroom. I can do a couple of things. I can select a pre-existing theme, or I can upload a photo. So if I have something on my computer that I like and I want to use, I can select that, or if I have a thumb drive, I can upload from there. But I'm just going to go ahead and use what they have available. So I will select a theme from here. And I'll just scroll down until I find something I like. So I'll just pick this. And I'll select a theme. And then my theme changes. And there's that. Okay, so the next thing I can do to customize it is I can add my profile picture here. And the way to do that is to go to this menu. This is the classroom menu. So I can click on this menu, and while we're here, I'll just show you a few things that are in this menu. So that's a home menu. So I can click here, and this takes me to all of my classes that I'm either enrolled in or I'm teaching. Next, I can select calendar, and this will give me all the due dates for work that's coming up. So look at me, I don't have work coming up. Great. But I can look at either all my classes, or I can select which class I'm going to look at, and students get the same exact option. So if you've got due dates in here, they'll be able to see what's coming up for either all their classes or for a particular class. So that's that. Then also there's this work button. So I'll just go to the classes I'm enrolled in, which isn't many, but I can see all the work that's due, and I can see that for all the classes, or I can see it for a particular class I select. And if I want to go straight to the assignment, I could just click on the assignment and it'll bring me there. So that's for work. And then what I wanted to show you was this little settings here. So we'll go here to settings, and then this is where I can change my profile picture. So that helps me further customize my classroom. So anyway, I don't want to change my picture, so I'm just going to go right back to Google Classroom Practice. And the next thing I'm going to do is fill in some more information about my course, and the way I do that is by going to the About section. So here I can add a course description. So I'll call this Online Training. And then I can fill in where it meets, which is, again, online. And then something I want to point out to you is this folder here. So whenever you create a classroom, Google Drive is automatically going to generate a folder that you can access in your Google Drive. This folder is going to be accessible by you and every student that's enrolled here. Whenever you assign student work and students work on it, this is the folder where all of that work is going to go. So I'm going to click Save, and later on when I go through the student view of this, I'll show you a little bit more about, we'll talk a little bit more about this folder, and I'll show you where everything how it gets saved. Alright, so the next thing in the About section is this Add Class Materials. So what I use this for, what it's commonly used for, is to put course documents that you're going to reference repeatedly. So there's a few ways to add the documents. The paperclip is either from your computer or from a flash drive. My Drive, from your drive, you can add YouTube files or hyperlinks here using those. So I'm just going to go to my Drive, and I'm going to put my class agenda here because that's something that I access all the time, and I want the kids to be able to get to it also. So I'm just going to select it from here, and I have this agenda in a different folder. So go there, here's my class agenda, I'm going to add it, and now here it is. So it will be very easily accessible to me and the students. Other things that you can put here are things like if you have a course syllabus or unit outlines, things like that that you want to just access regularly, and then you don't have to worry about opening different tabs or folders. Once you go into Google Classroom, you go to the About section, and then all the files that you want to access regularly will be listed right there. Okay, so that's pretty much it on the About section. So let's look at the layout of the stream page. This is where you would post all of your assignments, which we're going to do in part 2. You go to this little plus sign, and it allows you to add announcements, assignments, questions, and reuse posts. And then here it shows you what work is due. We don't have any work due soon because we haven't added any yet. Here is where you would find the topics. So this is a really handy and very important feature to use because it will help you organize your classroom. That's going to be discussed more in section 2 when we start adding assignments. And this area is where all the posts will show up once we start making them. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead into the students section here, and we will invite students. So like I said, there are two ways to invite students. You can either provide for them this class code, and then when they log in, just like you did, if you remember, there was a little plus sign, and you could either create or join a class. I could just show it to you again. So if I go back here, here's my little plus sign. I can either create or join a class. So if I gave my students the class code, it would go right in here, then they would click join, and then they would be part of my class. So we're here. That's one way, by giving them the class code. Another way is to just click on invite students and then go to your directory, and this will bring up all of the students that are in our district, and then you would just type the name in here, click search, select the student, and then invite students, and that will add the student. So we can go ahead and add somebody here. Click on invite, and then that student has been invited. Alright, so I clicked pause and I went ahead and accepted the invitation on behalf of the student, so I could just show you that once the student accepts the invitation, then we can invite guardians. So I can click here and I can enter the email address of the parent or guardian, and once they accept my invitation, they'll be able to see all of my announcements and all the work that's due, when it's due, so they can help their student keep on track. And they can only see work and feedback that's associated with their students. So they won't be able to see anything from other kids in the class, just their own child and whatever work is due and that you've assigned. So there's that, and then the final thing in this section is setting the permissions. So when you set the permissions, you want to click on the name of the student, or you want to select all. Right now there's only one in there, so if I select all, it's just that one. And then I can set the permissions for that student. I can allow students to post and comment, so they can make brand new posts in the stream, or I can allow them to comment only. This is what I select because I don't want them to make brand new posts. I want to be the only one that's making new posts, but I will allow them to comment on those posts. So I say students can only comment. But if you want to further restrict it and you don't even want them to comment, because they will be able to see each other's comments if you allow them to comment, so it just depends on how you want to set it up. But you can further restrict it and not allow them to post or comment, so then you'd be the only one posting and commenting. Anyway, so I always put students can comment only. And then I've set their permissions, and that basically takes care of the student section of this. Alright, so that takes care of the introduction and overview. The next video will go into more detail about the features and functions. I hope that you found this helpful. Thanks for watching.